students, Dr. Shruggy here, and we are continuing our beginnings of learning how to explore working with a Linux operating system like what we have on Chesapeake. You by now are able to take your Mac or PC or whatever kind of client computer you're using right now, and using software like Terminal on a Mac or PuTTY on a PC, or even those weird browser extensions like Chrome SSH or Fire SSH, you're probably now able to actually get onto Chesapeake. And you're going to get a window similar to what you're seeing up here. I've actually logged in on my account here. Now what you're actually seeing around here, by the way, if you're actually physically sitting at Chesapeake or any other Linux computer, you can get a desktop environment just like you would on a Mac or a PC. Where, I mean, I'm able to do things like move my mouse around and open applications from the graphical user interface, the kind of things that you're much more comfortable with than sitting there at a command line interface. But on a Linux computer, that's kind of a bonus, okay? You don't normally interact with a Linux computer sitting in front of it. If you are sitting in front of it, you can get this lovely graphical user interface, and we'll talk more about those interfaces over the course of the semester. But this is not what you're seeing. You're seeing a window, a terminal window on your Mac, and maybe you've got some browsers open or whatever you're doing on your Mac, or maybe you've got some beautiful tiles open on your Windows computer or whatever. I don't know what you're doing. I happen to be sitting in front of Chesapeake at the moment. Alright, so anyway, I'm logged in right here, and we're going to start talking about files. Now, when we were learning about the basics of working with a Linux computer, we learned about moving files around, or copying files, or removing files using commands like cp and rm and so on. But now what I want to do is I want to actually start modifying files. I want to actually start doing things like editing a file. Now you actually have a lot of experience with this kind of thing on your Mac or your PC or whatever you're using. You might not have used the word editing or whatever to think about what you're doing, but that's what, for example, Word is doing. Now I don't have Word on, Word doesn't exist for Linux computers, but there's a similar program called LibreOffice, and I have LibreOffice installed on Chesapeake here, and it looks more or less like Word looks. And this is probably what you are using, something similar to this Word or whatever you're into, Google Documents or something like that, and you are, you know, this is what I am used to using. And I understand completely. And what are you really doing when you are working with this program here? What you are really doing is you are making changes to a file. Now, in fact, I just opened the LibreOffice program here, and I must admit that I'm not that familiar with LibreOffice. Let me go here, I'm going to save. Let's just call this new file. Alright, I'm going to save this file here. So if, for example, you're not going to be using LibreOffice. I'm just saying this could be Word or something like that. I just wanted to show you what's going on here. Now if I go over here, let's see, is the new file in this directory? Yes. There is in fact a file called newfile.odt. ODT is open document format or something like that, I forget. Anyway, here's my file right here. And if I go back into LibreOffice, what I am doing is editing that file. I am changing the contents of that file so that I can, you know, now I am adding information. Okay, I'm putting more things into that file, and I hit save again, and it's saved. Okay, we do this so much that in the present time we hardly even think about what this means. We'll talk later in the semester about what do these icons actually, what are we really doing on the hard drive of the computer when we click on the save button? What are we really doing when we create a new file, etc.? We're not there yet. But this basic idea that there's a program, an application that you are using to make changes to the contents of a file is something we're going to need. Because all throughout the semester we're going to be making changes to a file. Now, again, sitting right here in front of Chesapeake, I can actually bring up LibreOffice, which is very, very, very similar to Word and Excel and PowerPoint and stuff like that. And I could be doing things like this. But in general, that's not what we do on a Unix computer or a Linux computer. Rather, we're going to be using simpler tools that are simpler but more powerful. They're also a lot older. The actual tool that we're going to be using this semester to edit files, to change the contents of files, is a very simple, very old program called VI. Now hopefully by now you have read chapter 3 of the text and you have learned a little bit about VI and maybe even experimented with it a little bit. But VI is a very simple text editor. Simple in the sense, well, that's maybe not the right word. It is a very powerful program, but it does have a little bit of a learning curve to understand how to use it. VI is a very old program. I meant to look before I got this far as to when was VI created, but certainly not later than the 70s, maybe even in the 60s it was created. VI is a very old program. It way predates Word. It way predates Notepad or any of those kinds of programs you might be familiar with on your computer. On the other hand, it's also way more powerful than those kind of programs. So if you want to create a file, if you just are, I'm ready to start working on a file. Now, what do I want to call this file? Let's just say I want to create a file called sample text. Okay? To create that file and start editing it, I'm going to type vi sample.txt. Okay, that's just what I want to call the name. I can call this anything. Okay? .text is not necessary, whatever. It's useful though to have those extensions like .text or .dat or whatever because they help you know what's in there. Alright, vi sample.txt, press enter to make it happen, and you are inside of VI right now. Okay, this is what VI looks like. Notice that this is a little different than what you would have been doing in Windows or Mac, where you would have launched Word and then you would have opened a file. Here the command is VI and then the name of the file you want to start working with. Okay. Alright. The big thing to know about VI is that VI is not a word processor. Let's go back to a word processor like LibreOffice. I mean, word processors have become so much a part of our day-to-day lives, we forget that they're a very weird program that it took you a while at some point to understand how to do. I mean, for example, notice that there is a place, let me just give you an example of something that you probably haven't even thought about on a word processor. See how there's a cursor blinking right there, and yet there's also a mouse right here? What's the difference between those two things? I mean, I can move my cursor using the arrow keys, but I can also move the mouse using the mouse controller. What's the difference between the two? There's an insertion point where if I start, like now I am adding new information. When I type, it shows up at the insertion point, but when I am moving the mouse around, that is like for doing controls. Now if I click someplace on the document, it moves the insertion point. Why am I telling you all this? Because you actually know this. Somewhere along the way, in the last 20 some odd years of your life, you found all this out. You probably didn't even know that that thing's called the insertion point, and so on. But it is an interesting way of working with things. You can move with the keys, you can move with the mouse, you can select with the mouse, you can make choices up here at the same time. Like, for example, I don't know what I can even do. Let's put this into a new font. I don't even know what fonts I have installed on this computer. We'll just call that one. Oh, I'll change it to italics, etc. You know all of this. You know all these metaphors, to use the right word from computer science. VI is very different. VI was written decades before any of this stuff. VI is not a word processor. It has no idea of fonts. VI has no idea about the mouse. VI was written long before mice were invented. VI does not understand scroll bars. Okay? Depending on exactly what kind of software you're using, whether it's Mac using a terminal, or whether it's PuTTY, or whether it's at Open SSH, or Fire SSH, or Chrome SSH, you may have scroll bars on the side of your window here, but VI does not know about them. Okay? All of the navigation in VI has to be done by the keys. The up, down, left, right keys. Because that existed when VI was written. Okay? Secondly, on something like LibreOffice, or any word processing program, whatever you're used to, if you want to just start putting text on there, just start typing text. And it works just fine. Okay? That is not what VI wants. VI works in several different modes. Modes mean like once it's in a particular mode, pressing keys does something. There is an insertion mode where you are adding text to the document. But there's also, for example, command mode, where the keys that you're pressing make things happen, like save your file or exit. So when you are in VI, you need to know what mode you are in. Now, in general, VI doesn't tell you, but that's okay because you can figure it out very quickly. The escape key on VI always takes whatever mode you are in and throws you back to command mode. Okay, so if I'm not sure what's going on, I hit escape, now I know I'm in command mode. Okay, one of the things I can do in command mode is type I throws it into insert mode. So when I'm in insert mode, now when I type, what I type shows up on the screen. Whoop. Okay, I'm in insert mode. Okay, now if I want to go and get back into command mode for some reason, like I'm going to go do something else in my file, I hit escape. Once I'm in escape, I can do things. Once I have escaped, I can do things like move my cursor back and forth using the arrow keys. In general, don't touch the arrow keys when you are in insert mode. By the way, there is another mode very related to insert that I have to admit I always get confused for insert, and that's append. Append is, again, if I hit, I'm not sure if I'm in command mode or not, what the heck, hit escape, and now I am in command mode. A is append mode, and it'll be for adding more to that line. Okay? Alright. In general, you don't want to be pressing the arrow keys while you're in append or in insert mode, because you'll get weird characters on the screen like this. See how as I typed A up and down and B, I'm just getting weird characters on the screen. I think the rendering right now is A, B, C, and D, but they can also render as different characters depending on the fonts you have installed and stuff like that. In general, that's because you're not inserting. When you are trying to move the keys around, that's not inserting. That is navigation. That's a command. So I really needed to get out of that mode, and I needed to then get back into command mode, and then I can navigate just fine. I want you to see something else. I'm going to park my cursor right there. Alright, now, if I'm in command mode right now, if I'm not sure, what the heck, press escape, it doesn't hurt anything. Let's say I wanted to go off to the left. I'm going to use my mouse to show you what I'm doing here. So I'm right here on this A. What if I wanted to move over here someplace, like where my mouse is right now? It seems like even in command mode I should be able to use the right key here and move over there, but I can't. Because I'm actually already at the end of that line. That line is actually A, and then a special character that says move on to the next line. There isn't anything after that A right there. Now, I could append, push A to get myself into append mode, and feel free to add whatever I want. But that's a little bit unsportsmanlike. Although, in fairness, I'm going to go back into command mode. Now I can freely move up and down, including in that line I can move left and right, because I have a and feel free to add whatever I want, and then I hit this special move on to the next line character. It's called the end of line. And we'll move on to the next line. So you are now seeing how there is this command mode, and there is this either insert or append mode. There's subtle differences between insert and append. Insert adds characters where you are right now, like insert, add right here, whereas append adds later. It adds after where the cursor currently is. Honestly, they're almost interchangeable. It's not really that big of a deal. Alright, what kind of things do I want you to know about, I have my notes over here on this other laptop, excuse me here. What kind of things do I want you to know about VI? So you've got this idea of this index, this append mode, and this insert mode. From command mode, you either hit an I to go into insert mode, or you hit A to move into append mode. Either way, when you're done with that, mode, hit escape to go back to command mode. There are other modes for VI, but they're not anywhere near as important as those are. Okay? Now, there are all kinds of interesting things that you need to know in VI. For example, we've been making a file here. It's a horrible file. It's got all kinds of junk in it, whatever. But we've made a file here. What do I want to do if I want to save it? The command to save a file in VI is :W. Lots of commands in VI start with colon. So we make sure we're in command mode by hitting escape. If we already were in command mode, that doesn't hurt anything. To save it, :W. Sample text, new file, 18 lines, 156 characters written. Fantastic. The W stands for write. So you are writing the file. Okay? They don't use the word save for some reason in VI. All right. Another important thing to know how to do is what if you wanted to get out of VI? Okay, I have now made the file that I want. How do I get out of it? :WQ in command mode. That stands for write and quit. Okay, :WQ is write and quit, and it will have saved the file. I actually now have a file on my computer called sample.txt. Look what happens if I type ls. Where is it? Sample.txt. Okay, we could do ls minus last and actually learn more about sample text. Where did it go here? I'm having trouble with my scrolls here. I don't know if I have my scrolls configured correctly. Heck, I can do this better. ls minus last star.txt will tell me all the files that end in .txt. There's only one, sample.txt. It has 156 bytes in it. It was created on July 28th at 11:09 a.m. It's owned by Shragi J. Again, these are the permission string that's out here in front. It tells who has permissions to read, write, and execute this file. We'll learn all about that stuff later in the semester. So we have created a file called sample.txt. What if I want to do more things to my file? What if I want to do other things? Well, let's open that file back up. vi sample text will open that file back up, and now I'm back in it, making more edits and changes. We talked about the fact that there are no scroll bars. All your navigation has to be done using the keyboard, not the mouse. The keyboard, VI was written long before there was a mouse. You can do things in VI like highlight words with a mouse, but that's actually not VI that's doing that. That's actually your little terminal program or your PuTTY program that's actually controlling that. PuTTY, terminal, they know about the mouse. They know things like select and stuff like that, but VI does not. Okay. So there are some nifty tricks that you can do in VI, though. You know, this little file here is, what does it say on the screen? 18 lines long. That's not so bad. Let's say for some reason you wanted to go to line 10. To go to line 10, you type in command mode. Okay, I'm going to hit escape just so I'm sure I'm in command mode. Type the number of the line you want to go to, followed by a capital G, and it will take your cursor to that line number. VI can't do, Word can't do that. LibreOffice can't do that. Why would you want to do that? Because when you're writing a program, you're going to find out when there's an error in your program. The computer is going to tell you, a special part of the computer called the compiler, but we'll learn about that later, is going to tell you things like that there's an error on line 327. Well, how the heck are you going to get to line 327? And some of your programs are going to be a lot longer than that. They're going to have thousands of lines, maybe. So, well, I don't know if any of yours will have thousands, but it's a large number. So if you want to go to line 11, big G. And it jumps to that line. Oh my gosh, how handy is that? What if you want to jump to the end of the line? That's a very common thing. It's often the case when you're writing programs that the error is at the end of a line. Okay, well, yes, you can do tap, 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 tap. Well, that gets old fast. Okay, here's the deal. $sign takes you to the end of the line. I believe $G takes you to the last line of the file, which is also a very useful thing. Often, okay, I've got this part of my program or this part of my document written. Now I want to do $G. I'm going to go down to the bottom here. $sign will take me to the end of that line. I can append some new lines now. And I am adding more. Isn't that nice? All right. Another nifty thing that VI has, which you're going to use 1,000 times this semester, is the ability to find text. How do you actually jump to something that you're looking for? For example, this file could be many lines long, and I'm looking for the line that says something about on the screen. In command mode, the command to search for something is slash. Slash screen will take me to the word screen. Neat. Can Word do that? Sure, I think it's under, what is it, Control F or Control H? I can't remember. But you're going to do it all the time in VI, so it's not such a big deal. By the way, let's suppose there was more than one instance of the word that you are looking for. Since I don't see anything like that, let me just go ahead and do that. I'm going to put my name in here a couple times. If I search for John, it'll take me to the first one. If I'm ready to go to that's not the one I meant. N takes me to the next one, and then N takes me to the next one, and I can just keep typing N to move to the next and next and next, which could be really helpful. Okay? We got a lot of garbage in this file. Let's learn about erasing. To erase a character, you're going to use the X key. This is going to be in command mode. So I can go over to wherever I want. If I just want to erase a character, I am going to just erase this word add. I can type I'm in command mode, escape, just in case I'm not sure. X, 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 and it's gone. X is kind of like the delete key or the backspace key. Again, delete and backspace are confusing. I mean, if you actually go back over here again to something like Word, again, you and I hardly ever think about it, but there is a difference between delete and backspace. Backspace removes what's ever to the left of your insertion point. Delete moves what's ever to the right. That's confusing, and yet somehow or other, we've all kind of just learned that someplace along the way. All right? VI is actually old enough that some keyboards didn't have a backspace versus some keyboards had backspace, some keyboards had delete. Nobody had both, and so this is the idea why they have every keyboard's gonna have an X. So X is just remove the character you're currently on. If you want to erase a whole line, it's DD. I don't know why it's DD, but it is. So like, okay, see all these extra stupid A, B, C, Ds that I've got here from when I was demonstrating that you shouldn't be touching the arrow keys in insert mode. Let's start getting rid of some of these guys. DD removes a line. DD moves another line. Pretty neat, right? There's even something neater that you can do with this here. You could repeat a command many times. So for example, see how you have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 lines to get rid of? I could type DD, 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 DD and get rid of them, but what if I had 200 lines to get rid of? Oh my gosh, that would get old really fast. In command mode, anytime you type a number followed by a command, it will make that command happen that many times. So like 5DD removes 5 lines. Oh, but this works for anything. What if I said 11, oops, sorry, I'm going to hit escape here, 11X? That's the same as typing X 11 times, so it erased 11 characters. What if I want to go up 5 lines? 5 up. And it takes me up 5 lines. Isn't that slick? By the way, it works for all kinds of nifty things. For example, what if it even works for things like insert? If I say 5, insert John is cool, and hit escape to go back into command mode, it'll put that in 5 times. Oh, got Word doing that? Got LibreOffice doing that? Got Google Documents doing that? I don't think so. Actually, I believe Word does have a similar functionality, but that's buried someplace in a menu. So there's all kinds of nifty things like that you can do to like, let's say you want to make a, I'm not saying you ever would do this, but hey, let's make a little box here. I'm going to make a little box. I'm going to say it is 10 insert star. And then on the next line, I'm going to say 8 insert star, space, 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 star, enter, escape. Now 8 times it entered star, space, 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 star, enter. And then I'll say 10 insert star, escape. And I made myself a little box right there. Okay, I don't know why you would do that particular thing, but you can see that like something that would actually have been a pain in the butt to try to do for the keyboard was done in no time with these little commands, once you're slick at them, which I understand takes a while. I'll show you another trick. I'm going to jump to the top of my file, which I'm going to do by going to line 1. 1, big G, takes me back up to the top of the line. I want to get rid of all this junk up here, these A, B, C, Ds right here. I'm going to type 22DD. Oh my gosh, I just deleted a bunch of my program. Oh, what am I going to do? What am I going to do? What am I going to do? Hands off the computer. Think before you touch. But as soon as, if you just mean, I don't want to have done what I just did right there. U for undo it. Okay? And it puts it all back. Okay? Now, it won't do that, like if you've also done other things in between, you can only undo the last thing you did, but it can save you a lot of heartbreak here. Okay? Another thing that you can do in VI that is important, sometimes you want to quit without saving. You know, you do that in Word too, right? Sometimes you want to, let's see here, where is quit? I have to admit again, I don't use LibreOffice all that much. What if I hit close? Save document before closing. Don't save, cancel. You know you would see something similar to that in Word, right? If you could save without actually, you could leave the program without actually saving. In the same sort of way, there is a way to do that in VI. Let's say, oh my gosh, I just screwed everything up. I'm just going to get out of here. :Q is quit. But if you just try :Q, it's going to say no write since the last change. In other words, it's warning you, you haven't written the file yet. That's okay. See how it says add exclamation point to override? What it means is :Q exclamation point. That's going to say, I really mean to quit. I'm going to tell you what it really means. In VI, that exclamation point is pronounced damn it. I don't make these rules up. Damn it. That actually says quit damn it. And so, alright, quit damn it. And now you're out. And if I went back into there, I'm going to use my snifty trick of bang V to go repeat my VI sample.txt command. See how it's back the way it was before? Neat. Okay? Let me show you one more thing that is awfully handy in VI. A lot of what we're going to be doing in the VI with this class is going to be writing programs. And programs have parentheses in them. They're going to have lines that look, let's see, la-da-da-da-da. Okay, you don't know what this line means yet, but that's fine. But look what it's got in it. It's got things like parentheses and curly braces and so on, and you're probably not terribly shocked to discover that they have to go together. There have to be just as many open parentheses as closed parentheses. There have to be just as many open curly braces as closed curly braces. They have to pair up correctly. And it's probably also not going to be a terribly big surprise to you to find out that you're going to often make mistakes and have missed one of those. VI has a very handy feature that something like Word or whatever would never have that helps you pair them up. If you park your cursor on one of your things that needs to have a match and hit the % key, it will alternate back and forth between the two that match up. Same with like if on this curly brace right here. It'll alternate back and forth between the two that match up. Isn't that slick? Oh man, that is just so incredibly helpful so often. Because it's often going to be the case that, for example, maybe you forgot this parentheses. You were just typing fast and you didn't notice that you missed it. Your program's giving you some error. You're looking at it, gosh, that doesn't look bad. Let's check the parentheses. I'm hitting the match key, but nothing's happening because there is no match. Oh, okay. Now, you might be thinking, well, how did I miss that? I mean, they're just a few characters apart right here, right? But there could be lots and lots, there could be hundreds, maybe even thousands of lines of code between these curly braces. Being able to see which two match... Here, I'll even demonstrate that for a second here. I'm going to open up something. I have this clipping.c program hanging out over here. Okay? I mean, again, you don't know what all of this means, but it's full of code. What if I had made some mistake here? And this curly brace, I don't know where that matches. %, %. Oh, look, this one matches to this one. What if I thought it matched to this one? Because, you know, there can be curly braces inside of curly braces. What does this one match to? Oh, this one matches to this one up here on this part of the program. See how that can be really helpful? Oh my goodness, that's a hugely powerful tool in VI. Now, in your textbook on Chapter 3 there, I actually gave you a whole bunch of links to VI tutorials. And to be honest, I didn't check those. Those links all came from a previous semester when I taught this course. Those links could be dead. I don't know. But there is no shortage of VI tutorials, VI demonstrations, VI cheat sheets you can print off the internet, okay? Right now, all around the country, thousands of students are trying to learn VI, okay? It's a very common thing to have to learn how to do when you're going to be doing scientific programming. So you have no shortage of things like that that you need to do. Now, what I want you to do is that after you've experimented with this a little bit, what I want you to do is go on in your textbook, I think it's on page 13, is do assignment 1. It's about Linux commands and about working with VI. And there's some simple little parts 1 there that you're going to just be creating a directory and moving a file. It's basically just proving that you can get onto Chesapeake, you can move some files around, things like that. Then in part 2, you're going to be actually using VI to make some changes to those files, demonstrating that you have the basic understanding. Is VI going to be hard? Yeah. Is it a powerful tool? Absolutely. By a couple weeks from now, your fingers are just going to know those little escape key, command mode, insert mode. It's going to be like you've always been doing this. Trust me. I've taught this class to hundreds of students over the years. You're going to be fine. It's just going to take a little while to kind of get ramped up as to, oh, it's a little bit different than like, you know, Word or something like that. I got to insist that the mouse is aside. The mouse is not doing anything. I got to forget about scroll bars and stuff like that. That's okay. Alright, so go ahead and do assignment 1. Please let me know if you have any questions. This has been Dr. John Schrage.